Here we go.
Pigs. Ooh, transitions like a motherfucker. That's how it's done right there, ladies and gentlemen.
And
That's how it's
we're
done.
live. Oh, I almost pushed that. That would have been bad. All right, and we're live.
What's up, Oreo?
Fuck it. We're doing it live. I don't know. Things are up. Things are down.
Ooh, goodness. All right. So I think I've told you I quit drinking.
What was that in your hand just now?
That's where I was going with this. Bubbly. It's
Oh,
sparkling water. Hashtag not
only
sponsored.
2% alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. No. I've cut alcohol out. I have now been without a drink in a little over a week,
Oh, nice.
which has been good. I didn't have much of a choice. My doctor was like, "You need to quit drinking." After she looked at some of my liver enzyme tests, so which was
What the
good.
hell is? What the hell is your liver now? Your liver is tattletelling on you.
Pretty much, yeah. She's
He
like,
drinking too much.
"Oh yeah, yeah." She was like, "If you do you drink?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
No, not me.
And she goes, "How much do you drink?"
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I mean, I drink
Once every,
Well, I told her I was like, "Well, I drink maybe a bottle a night," and she goes, "A bottle of what?" And I'm like, "A bottle of wine."
I love that people are like, I only do it socially. You're like, well, how fucking often are you social? Jesus.
Yeah, pretty much. So she's like, "Well, the liver enzymes are really, really high. So, to prevent that whole cirrhosis thing, you should
Isn't that
probably."
good for you now? I think there's a new article came out that cirrhosis is good for you.
Well, then I would have all the cirrhosis apparently. So I was like, okay, fine. And I've been through this before, and um, because I'm really bad about drinking, and it's probably my biggest vice since I quit smoking. But so I've quit, and like I told you, I changed some other medications around, and this other medication that I'm on, they're like, yeah, don't drink. They're like, it could really fuck you up. Like, okay, fine.
What do you mean by fuck you up?
Well, they say seizures.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm not really, Halloween's past. I'm not really into doing the whole Michael J. Fox costume, so I figure I would stop.
Am I the only one that when I hear the word seizures or like see a warning for seizures, I just think of the Homer Simpson watching the Japanese cartoon with his eyes big and it flashing and like
Pretty much.
just me? Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So they told me that I needed to go on a diet. Well, the issue of it was one of the medications that I was on was making me really gain weight, and there was just nothing I could do to keep it down. So they changed me from one medication to another medication. So we'll see. But as I've been taking it, my body's adjusting to it, and
I still don't like trust. There's so many medicines that are like, yeah, we've been, prescribing this for 10 years. It's like, that's not long enough.
no,
It,
no, it's not. But
It's not long enough. How do companies test for stuff like that? I thought of it today as a whole because I saw somebody talking about like the preppers that they get the storage food that 25-year shelf life or 50-year shelf life or whatever. How do you know? How did you test that?
I mean,
Did you set it on a shelf for 25 years ago and you're like, we'll open business after we make sure this food's still good?
I will say this. I watched a guy on TikTok that was buying up like old MREs from like World War II and whatnot, and was opening them up and eating them, and they were still. I mean, he says they probably
good as he can be.
Yeah, there's good as he says that they tasted probably no different than what they tasted 80 years ago.
Yeah, well, a lot of those foods are literally just filler. There's no flavor.
Oh yeah,
They're literally to give you the calories you need to survive.
but so years ago, one of the first conventions that I ever worked, we had this idea that we were going to buy MREs for food because we just didn't know if we were going to have time to eat, or we might only get to eat once, so we were like, we're just going to get these meals on the go. And so a buddy of mine bought like a case of these MREs, And so when we got to the convention, we were doling them out, and some of them were really fucking good.
Yeah, I've
Um,
heard some are decent, some are
yeah,
pretty good.
there was a couple that were just like, holy cow, these are really really good. And then you then you look at the calorie intake, and if you eat everything in the little box that's like that big, it's like 10,000 calories or something like
Yeah, isn't
that.
it like nut? Like it's just packed.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe we
Yeah,
shouldn't be eating these.
these are so good. I could eat 2 or 3 of these, and
Yeah,
you're like, yeah, in a week maybe.
I mean it was crazy, but I mean some of
Yeah,
them were pretty neat. But I mean, mad respect for anybody that's had to be stuck out, in the field in some deployment and being, having to eat nothing but these things, because I mean that's gotta suck.
yeah. No, that's when you finally achieve food for survival, not food for comfort.
Yeah, yeah,
That's why
exactly.
Americans are fat because we're so good at glorifying food and making it all about, you know, satisfaction and ooh, yummy,
Yeah,
ooh, gooey, cheesy, yummy, and
and we process it down to the point where it's so terrible for you. There's nothing in it that's actually worth you eating, but it tastes good, so we got to eat it.
yeah, it's like majority chemicals, and you're like, yummy.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I
No,
remember years ago, a friend of the family she was from Germany, and every so often, like her family would fly in from Germany to visit, and the conversations that we would have about the food differences,
yeah,
they were just like, I can't believe that these foods are so readily available, and
yeah, or legal at all.
yeah, yeah, or illegal. One of the things that really got me is when her niece would fly in, who was she's about my age. They would always come over, and then they would buy a big suitcase, and they would fill it full of different things that they could only get in the U.S. And then they would go back. And the number one thing that she would take was peanut butter, because
They can't get peanut butter or
well,
just not processed like it is here.
it's not processed, because you know when you have your peanut butter and you might let it sit, maybe for a few weeks, and you don't use it all, and it starts to get the oil in it, and you have to stir it up to get it all to like kind of peanut butter.
Yeah,
That's the way their peanut butter is. Like
yeah, I've seen the
yes,
I've
you
seen the, like
always,
all natural and the
yeah,
non-processed peanut butters next to the Jif and
yeah,
stuff.
and a lot of it has the oil in it, and you have to stir it all up before you can,
Yeah,
you know,
literally every time. If
yeah,
it's been an hour since you last used it.
exactly. And she was just blown away that we have peanut butter over here, that you just don't have to
Yeah.
do that.
Well, no, the
And
amount of like preservatives and emulsifiers and the stuff that like if you get like strawberry milk like from the store,
mhm,
there's a reason you're not having to shake it. It's because it's full of so many chemicals to force it to stay mixed.
that's true.
You don't really have to get it and shake it anymore. It's pink throughout.
And we don't think about that. And this shit that we're putting in our bodies, we have no clue what it's going to look like in 20, 30 years.
Oh, you're just like, yummy.
I mean, it is what it is. But
And then
no,
you see Americans are fatter than every other country, and you see how Chinese and like Japanese people eat, and you're like, what the fuck? They're just shoveling it in, and America has like, oh, MSG bad though, and you're like, is it though? Because like,
well, one of the other
there's,
differences that I think is really missed between, especially American and European cultures, is here in the U.S. we don't walk anywhere. If I
yeah, that's
want to,
true. They walk everywhere, and they take a train and
yeah,
public
they're
transportation.
always on their feet. They're always in motion. So I mean, if you look at like Italy, for example, those when those fuckers eat, I mean, they eat and they eat and they eat. But once again, everything is so
Yeah,
close that
they
you
get up
don't.
and walk or
Yeah,
ride a bike or
there's no place to put a car. So many
yeah,
people from those countries, they don't own cars. They don't need them, because everything they need is within 4 or 5 blocks of where they live. That's why there's always that conversation about how you can jump in a car in France and drive 8 hours and have traveled through 2 or 3 countries. Where
yeah.
here,
You're fucking in Spain all of a sudden.
yeah, in the United States, you can jump on I-35 in South Texas and drive 6 hours and still be in Texas. You know,
And you're not even close to the edge yet.
yeah, exactly. You haven't made it to Dallas yet. You know,
Mm.
it's that same type of. It just the scale is so different between us and Europe. But you know, our country scaled up and is fatter. Well, so are the people. You know,
Yeah,
we're just you know we're
we're
just
just do it
fitting.
bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah, you never really think about it, especially when like most modern maps are not to scale.
I did not know that until just maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. That
Me too. I didn't know it until a few years
yeah,
ago.
there was that you know there I think it was one of the YouTube or TikTok videos or something that was talking about how you know the way they've scaled up the United States or basically everything in the northern hemisphere has been like scaled up, and then everything in like South America and Africa and stuff is scaled down, and then when you realize that you can take and put the United
Yeah.
States and Europe in at the African continent and still have room to spare.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
really wild.
it's weird.
Or how what is it? Greenland is really only about that big, and then we show it in the maps, and it's like that big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's icy there, not green,
yeah, that one just upsets me.
and it's green in Iceland.
Yeah, that one just really upsets me. That's probably the number one thing in this whole world that upsets me the most is how
Yeah,
those two countries are named completely wrong.
yeah. I don't fucking get it.
I do want to
Uh,
visit Iceland though. I would like to. I would like to
oh, it's
visit.
so pretty.
Yeah,
Or New Zealand. Fuck.
yeah. I would love to go up and I'd like to go up and visit Iceland. You know, I'd love to go and visit New Zealand, but mostly because of New Zealand, I want to see all of the sets from Lord of the Rings and stuff like that because a lot of those places still exist.
Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful country. If they let us there, fuck,
I've
the way we're going, other countries are gonna just straight ban Americans.
well during COVID they did ban us. I mean, there was
Yeah.
Europe was getting back to like some semblance of normal. They're like, we don't want the Americans over here.
I
And
wonder like what kind of tourism like money wise we're taking to other countries. I assume it's got to be a big part of like every country.
I would say a
Well,
lot of the
maybe not Middle Eastern areas that Americans are like, no.
well, I mean, with good reason.
Yeah.
I would say probably in Europe in general, especially Western Europe. I bet their tourism industry really did suffer because of it. Because I would say the Americans spend way too much money, you know, when they go over
Yeah.
there. You know, so and they like American money because you know it's the standard.
Yeah. You can use it everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
for now.
nice. Yeah, for now until we crash it.
Well, there's
We're working towards it.
I can't remember the name of the group. Like they've got a little acronym, but it's
Anonymous?
no. It's Russia. It's Russia, India, China.
Oh, cool. Wow.
It's like all of the countries
We
that
just flagged our podcast.
yeah.
Hey, NSA.
But anyway, all of the major like Axis powers in comparison to the West have formed an alliance, and they're working on creating a central currency that they can use amongst themselves to not use the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
You know,
'Cause they
because
don't want to be associated with us.
well, that and we have the power to, you know, all of the U.S. dollars are traded, you know, mostly in the end game of, you know, American banks. So we can
Yeah.
do things like we've done to, you know, most of the Russian oligarchs and freeze all of their American assets. And they don't like that, and they don't like the fact that we have that kind of power over them. So they're working on trying to find it, you know, and I think that'll actually hurt the American dollar eventually if they ever get it off the ground, because
Yeah.
I think we will see almost a huge deflation of the dollar to the point where you know some deflation will be good because it would drive down prices and whatnot, but it would also drive down wages and it would drive down everything. So, but anyway,
The weird thing is like all that shit's tied together and they just don't want to talk about it.
no,
It's all tied together. It doesn't matter if you make $20 an hour is the minimum. Gas is going to be a certain percentage of that. There's a reason gas was 25 cents back in the day because that was the percentage of it.
yeah.
The problem is when like right now that we have the problem is the percentages are not right. Corporations are taking way too much.
Well, this
And
is
it's hurting the dollar overall because like there's no balance. It's fucking everyone along the whole line.
well the problem that we see here is, and this is you know a contentious point that I make. this is not a period of inflation. We are not in a period of inflation
Oh,
because
there's
because when,
forced inflation, maybe
yeah,
pretend
it's
inflation and
pretend
acting
it's pretend inflation
a
because what's
scapegoat to blame their price gouging on.
that it's 100% price gouging because when you have major corporations bringing in the highest profits in the history of their country or their company,
And then
and
they say it's too hard. We can't give out
yeah,
raises. It's
it,
it's hard for us out here. And you're like,
it,
we just had a meeting last week that we've had the highest profits
yeah,
ever. Yeah, but it's really hard.
yeah, exactly. And then and that's the problem is you didn't see this in the 70s. You didn't see this in 2008. You didn't see this in the 1929 crash. Yeah,
No,
and that's a huge difference, and that's not what's being talked about. And
no,
it,
no.
it
Well, they push their narrative is, oh no, it's the same. It's happened before. It happens every. We're in a cycle of it.
yeah,
It
this is an
happens.
adjustment. Yeah.
This is no.
No, it's a combination of two things, and in my well, I think it's a combination of many things, but I think the two major contributors is the fact that you have corporations that are able and getting away with gouging, and B, this is a market adjustment from COVID, because one of the things that we did during COVID was we gave everybody money to stay home, which was good. Like, this isn't a bad thing. People needed to eat, people needed to survive, people couldn't work. They
Yeah.
needed money to survive. So
Well, they need money to move through the economy to keep it going.
exactly. So what we did is we pumped trillions of dollars into the economy. Well, this is kind of our, we have to get that money back out of circulation now. And
Yeah.
that's what they're doing with the interest rate hikes is they're making money harder to get to, harder to purchase, harder to borrow, and making it more expensive, so it pulls that money back out of the back out. But the problem that this is all my opinion, but the problem that's happening here is the fact that they're raising interest rates, which is good, but the interest rates are not going to affect the people that are at the lower that have no choice but to spend money.
Yeah.
It comes back to something that I've said that if you give a wealthy person $10,000, they will be able to invest it and turn that $10,000 into $50,000, $100,000, $1,000,000, because they've already got those avenues in place and they don't need that $10,000. Now, if you take somebody that's in the lower middle class or working class and give them $10,000, they can't save it. They immediately go, well, shit, I can pay off this bill. I can pay off this bill. My car doesn't work very well. Let's get that fixed. My kids need clothes, or there's all these expenses that it's like, we need, and so we're immediately spending that money back into the economy. So all this money is floating around in all directions. So of course we're going to have some inflation, but I think our inflation is exacerbated by the fact of we have corporations that coming through COVID were like, oh, we have to raise prices. We've had to do all these extra things in the supply chain, and they make up all these excuses, and then they raise prices, and so you have the prices are exacerbating the inflation, and then the working person is just sitting there going, what the fuck do I do? Because you can't.
So it's hurting it from the bottom up. They don't have money to spend, so money's not moving around.
Yeah. So I mean, what happens when the situation is we're not moving money around? We're cutting a lot of things out. Okay, we're not. We're only driving to and from work, or we're going to stop by the grocery store on the way home. We're not going to come home and run back out, or it's little things like that the American people are changing, and it's going to take that much longer to get this money out of circulation to lower inflation. Meanwhile, every time I go to the grocery store, the prices have gone up for ridiculous purposes.
Yeah. Well, just because they want more money.
Yeah, exactly. It's 100%.
They're making more money. Every corporation and high ups are making more money than they've ever made before.
Yep.
And then they blame it on inflation and COVID and all this stuff.
When the real solution would be to actually tax those people, tax those corporations, and take those profits. And yes, I say take those profits and put them back into the U.S. Treasury, which The treasury isn't a physical place. It's not some place that they've got like stacks of money. That's not how it works. It's
I've seen movies. Yes, it is.
I watched Money Heist. I know. Um, but what it is it's just going into a computer, and the computer is just deleting zeros. That's all it does. But once you delete those zeros, it starts to balance those equations, and that's what's going to bring down inflation.
Yeah.
It's not communism; it's socialism, but it's close.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Like a lot of Americans don't know what the difference is because they don't teach what either of them is.
well, they've made both into such scary words that happen to me that are mean countries are socialist or communist.
Yeah.
You know, and they've put such a evil connotation on it. Or my personal favorite is, well, the Nazis were socialist. Why
Yeah.
is that? Well, they were democratic socialists. I bet
I saw
buffalo
that.
wings are really hard for you to get your fucking concept and brain around. You know, it's.
What do you mean? They're from the buffalo.
I mean,
That's why there's so many of them, because the buffalo's really big.
it's just it's. I had a discussion with someone here just recently talking about socialism and democratic socialism and the
I don't normally talk politics with almost anyone other than you.
I'll talk politics with anybody that wants to talk about it, because especially living where I live in the South, it's so much fun to look at a person dead in their eyes and go, "Yeah, I consider myself a socialist," and it just destroys them, because then they try to throw out all these false things about being a leftist and
Yeah.
um
I saw that the clip that's gone around a billion fucking times since Jon Stewart used to be on the Daily Show. The clip of him talking about how everyone in America is freaking out that our taxes are so high, and he pulled up this list that we're down, way down, because we only technically are charging like 8 or 9% taxes.
yeah.
And he was showing that, and he's like, "Well, wait a minute. Oh, I thought we were one of the higher taxes, and they wanted to raise it even more, and that's why it's scary." And then it cut to him talking to like people from like Sweden, people that pay 37% tax, and he's like, "Well, they got to be so fucking upset." And every Swede that he talked to, I don't know if Swede's is that a. I'll talk to my friend Anna. She lives in Sweden. I don't know if that's the right word. I feel like that's a bad word, Swede. It has a weird.
Well, I think my favorite thing was done by our friend of PigPod, Vampiric. We were discussing politics and taxes, and he's Canadian, and we made a joke about how expensive and how high taxes are in Canada, and making fun of Canada. This the American Canada thing that we do. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, you hurt my feelings. I guess I'm gonna go get some free health care to make it better."
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
that's what literally every Sweden that you talk to, Swedish person is like, "Oh yeah, I love it. I'd rather pay the taxes because it's actually used. I don't have to worry about getting sick.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to go. Should I go to the doctor? Like I saw a TikTok the other day. This kid was skateboarding, and he had like landed on his ankle really weird, and it didn't feel broken, but it swelled up like it was fucking massive.
I know where you're going.
And these dudes in suits were walking by. He's like, "Hey, you look like a doctor. Are you a doctor?" He's like, "Oh, well, technically, yeah, I'm a doctor." He's like, "Should I go to the hospital with this?" And the dude was looking at it. He's like, maybe you might want to get that x-rayed. Can you walk on it?" And he like got up and walked, and he's like, "Yeah, I can walk on it." He's like, "All right, since you can walk on it, probably just put ice on it. Like if it gets worse in a day or two, then go to the doctor." And that's the American way. We literally, is this bad enough that I have to go to the hospital? Where in those other countries, they just fucking go. And then you bring that up to somebody that's like against socialism, and they go, "Yeah, but I don't want to wait. Everyone is in the fucking hospital all the time. I'm going to have to wait 13 hours. Dude, when I had kidney stones, like 6 months ago now or something, and fucking dying, I sat in the fucking waiting room for like 5 hours. I'm not a priority case, sure, but still, our system's not better. Go to the doctor right now and go try and just get in immediately.
Right.
It doesn't happen here either. You act like we go to the doctor, and because we're paying premium high dollar,
Yeah. Well,
that you just get right in.
well, I think that's also one of the reasons why, bringing it back to the fact that we're just fat in this country, is we're fat and unhealthy because we can't afford to go to the doctor. You can't.
Our food's pumped full of chemicals and
Yeah.
bullshit, and we're not taking care. The government's not taking care of
Yeah.
us. It's all on us, and we have no money to do it. So,
Well, like I went to the doctor last week. We were saying about my medications and whatnot.
yeah.
So we did everything, and I was done. And I was getting ready to check out. So I walked up to the little checkout counter to get ready to leave, and I just pulled my debit card out because I knew I was going to have to
Hey,
pay. And she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll go ask the doctor if we can count this as your yearly physical, and you won't have to pay because I have insurance." And I was just like, "Cool, awesome. I have insurance that covered that." But even though I have state insurance because of Heather's job, I only get a physical once a year. So cool, I saved $40, but I only
but
get to
now
save $40
that
once
was
a
your
year.
physical.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my physical. So I'm like, okay, well now that's cool. I mean, I was really happy because they had to draw a bunch of blood. I had to pee in a cup. I had to do all these things, and it was just, I just thought that was really just. I was happy that they did it, but then on the other hand, it's like, okay,
You don't.
we have to cheat the system to be able to make the insurance do what
Yeah.
insurance should be doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, insurance is such a freaking scam too. They're just out.
absolutely is a
They're
scam.
doing the same price gouging bullshit.
Yep.
And
Oh,
the hospital's doing the same thing too. They're
I
screwing over the insurance companies.
Well, my biggest issue, and they're working on closing it, and it's one of the things that a lot of the more far left politicians are really pushing for, is it's the fact that we don't get to, or I'll also say the United States government doesn't get to negotiate drug prices, and when it comes to
Yeah.
Medicare, Medicaid, things like that, it's like, well, wait a minute. Like that sounds like a horrible idea. Why are we not negotiating drug prices? Because
I don't get how. I do get because we're in America.
that
I don't get how across the board there's not laws against price gouging, but especially for drugs.
well, see, the
There's
thing is,
no
it is
reason a drug that it takes 30 cents to produce it, you can charge $3,000 for. That should be illegal. That should not be allowed.
yeah. I think there should be a set. I think there should be a set percentage markup. Like
Whether
okay,
it's for a hormone treatment that I decided that I don't need, or it's a life-saving drug across the board, either one shouldn't
see,
be allowed to do it.
now we'll talk true communism because now we're coming back to communism. But then again, I think it's a great idea. I think I think the government should step in and say, just like you said, okay, it's 30 cents to produce. You're charging $3,000. That's what a 1 billion% markup.
Oh, something.
No,
Math.
no, yeah, no. 30 cents, 30 cents on the for the unit, $1. I think that's fair. Because you're looking
Yeah, there
at
should be some limit.
if that 30% or that 30 cents, if that's your labor, your manufacturing, your overhead, your shipping,
Yeah, that's your entire
everything.
cost.
Yeah, that is your bottom line cost. Yeah, no. I mean, hopefully none of my competitors are listening to this podcast, but at work when it comes, I charge 35%.
Yeah.
When you come in and you buy a product from me, I mark it up 35%.
That's for good businesses. That's a pretty fair markup. That
Right. I think
helps you
that's
stay
fair.
afloat. That helps you cover the cost. A lot of people don't realize too, because nobody runs businesses. That helps you cover the cost of when you have to, do some kind of service or return or refund.
Mm-hmm.
You have that cushion now. Or now, if I sold two of them, one of them I had to completely refund. Now I'm sitting on 17%. So I still made a little bit, but
No, dude. What I'm saying here is at the end of the day, everything that goes into that product, costs 30 cents. Then, that's what I'm saying is, they're
Yeah.
not, if you're taking, let's say we come back and we're talking a pill. And this pill is, I have to take, we'll just say one a day. All right. So that means I buy 365 of them, a year to take. Okay. And they're marking it up to $50 a pill, which that's pretty normal for some medications. I mean, I can tell you that some of the meds I'm on without insurance are, $10 to $20 a pill. but we'll even say $20 a pill. They're not spending, you know, $500,000 a year on me per person in research or all these things. They're not doing it because now you've probably got 100 million people. Now you're looking at 75, 80 billion dollars. They're not spending that. They're just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's what they always claim. The hard part is you can't do percentages or a forced number like that. You have to, you literally have to have your health department. This is what they should be nominated for. Whether they're picked by the president or not, that's probably a bad idea to have him pick them. But they have to come together and go, all right, this drug across the board, looking at everyone that produces it and makes it and research and everything, what should the maximum price on this drug be?
Yeah.
And they should go, all right, for that type of drug,
they need
$10 a pill is the max, and then let the companies decide, all right, what do my margins have to be? Oh, I'm just going to set it at $10, or have the cheaper ones, the Walmart brands, go, oh, we're going to be 6. But
and that's the problem is, especially when it comes back to the non-negotiations, the companies can just say whatever they want and it doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's the reason why.
well, they can
insulin
pull out
has
of their
gone
ass.
through the roof.
Oh, yeah, they can pull out of their ass all kinds of stuff and go, oh, well, inflation and the COVID and
Right.
research, and it's been harder to get stuff. We've had to raise the price. They can make up all kinds of shit.
And
The problem is it's just gone rampant and it's just allowed. Nobody
Right.
ever looks into it or tries to stop it, so it just is.
Well, they're not going to try to stop it because it comes back to a whole nother issue that we have in this country is the fact that the people that are setting the price for these drugs that the American public has to pay for, they turn around and take some of that money that they're getting from the American public, and then they're taking your congressman or your senator, they're taking them out to a titty bar and getting them fucked up on an evening and going, hey man, you help me, I help you, that type of thing, and that should never be allowed.
No.
And if they're not going to take them out to a titty bar, they turn around and go, well, I'm going to create this political action committee, and we're going to campaign for you. We're going to run ads for you, which is completely legal in the U.S. And say, okay, we're going to put $100 million into a political action campaign for your reelection, so long as you just keep your mouth shut about us charging $3,000 a pill. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, fuck, okay. And
Yeah,
once
that's
again,
the problem. Bribes and fucking
yeah,
shit like that is
it
allowed to
literally
happen.
it's just bribes. You call it
Yeah.
what you want. You can call it, campaign finance. You can call it all these things. But at the end of the day, it's just a fucking bribe.
Just like senators and Congress, men and women, and pretty much anyone high up in government should not be allowed to buy stocks.
Oh my god! I mean, there's a guy. I'll send you the YouTube link to the guy that he's created an algorithm that follows all the.
Oh, when they buy it and sell it.
Yep.
And I think I saw it. It was
Yeah.
a while ago.
and he's making money. He's like he goes, I don't know
Yeah,
anything about.
he just goes off of what they buy
Yeah.
and sell.
And because I mean all that's public knowledge, and they're just like, that's all he does. He's like, I know nothing about stocks and bonds or any of that stuff. Because all he did was like computer science, programming, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was
And
just
that's
data
them
stuff.
dictate it.
Yeah, and then he's just like, then I just put money in. He's created his own basically like pseudo hedge funds and just buys and sells and is making a fucking killing. And
Which makes you wonder how fucking rigged it is if they
well, I mean,
can see shit coming, and they're just always so many of them are just so lucky. They're right time and time
well,
again.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not.
It might not
I
even be
would
rigged. It might just
personally-
be that they have the info ahead of time.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I say it's 100% rigged, and I mean, I can look at it as a person and go, I would have a hard time, knowing that I'm going to pass a law that's going to make it really marijuana, for example.
Yeah.
The people that are in here in Virginia, they just legalized medical use marijuana, and they decriminalized it. You can have a certain amount of marijuana and stuff. I would have a hard time as a politician knowing that by passing this bill, this company is going to be able to move into my district and start selling marijuana. I would have a hard time not saying, oh, I could put like $100 into their into their stocks, and I'll probably make a lot of money because this isn't coming out yet. I
Well,
mean,
that's the difference of what I guess it depends what you mean by rigged. Things that they're actually doing, both is wrong. They shouldn't be allowed to trade either way.
no,
Because I think you're right. Some of them are literally doing it or passing along. They see it coming, and I think also some others just literally info.
yeah,
They go,
well,
"Hey, we heard this and this is going to happen. You might want to sell such and such."
yeah,
Oh yeah, okay.
well,
And they
it's
way
pure
before anyone in
insider
the
trading.
public or anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
But Martha Stewart gets in trouble for that. But fuck.
they made the hugest example out of her. That's all they did to her. They were like,
Hmm.
we got to, somebody has to go down, and Martha's going to be the one to do it.
They're just
And
mad that she's so cool that Snoop Dogg fucking hangs with her. They're upset that it's a white someone like her should not be allowed and cool enough to hang with Snoop Dogg. They're jealous.
yeah, no, you're 100% right. But yeah, she went down, and
How
they,
long did she even get? Wasn't it only like 18 months or something?
I don't remember. We'll live Google and find out. But I mean, it was at one of the cushy, you know, very minimum security
5 months.
5 months. So, but then again, I love watching there's a show called 60 Days In where they bring these people off the street,
Oh, yeah.
and they give them a fake background, and they send them into a jail or a prison, and they have to survive in the prison for 60 days. And I don't know, it's a reality show, and I end up getting sucked into watching them for no good reason. And even watching, because I love watching the guys that are like, oh, jail should be tougher. Why they get TVs, and they should be getting bread and water and that type of stuff. And then they put him in prison, and they're like, oh god, it sucks here. And like, yeah, it's not that cushy. Like, I mean,
No.
there are some amenities, and it goes from jail by jail, but it still sucks. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that even by saying, Martha went to some minimum security federal resort prison. At the end of the day, she probably did have 5 months of just suck. Because
Yeah.
everything is still regulated. When you can eat, when you can sleep, when you shit, when you shower. I wouldn't want to do it.
No.
I spent one night in a drunk tank once. That was enough for me. So
No, it's not fun. Don't even get me started on the privatized fucking prison system we have in America.
it's terrible. It's literally
Yeah.
terrible because there's
Welcome to the political side of
yeah,
Pig's Pod, where we hate on America, but we stay here because
we
we
can't
don't have
afford
enough
to
money.
move.
America's literally like the crab pot. You know how the ones try to escape and they pull you back in?
Yeah.
The American government literally keeping you here. It's so hard to move out of America. And other countries, because a lot of them are actually good, it's also hard to just move there and become a citizen there.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I had a customer. He bought a Russian training fighter jet that was decommissioned from the Cold War.
that sounds cool as
It's
fuck.
actually really fucking cool. So, the oxygen tanks for his breathing, they're just like any other high pressure cylinder. They have to be pressure tested every so
Yeah.
often, and which is my job. So the FAA was getting on him because these bottles were out of service, that past their date, and they needed to be serviced. So he called around a bunch of places, and he eventually found us. So he's like, yeah, it was this Russian training MiG that I own, and I need to get these bottles serviced. So I'm like, fuck yeah, this sounds cool as shit. Bring them to us. So
Does he fly it or does
Oh
it
yeah,
just sit there?
no, he flies it. Like he straight
Okay, I
up
was
flies
gonna
it.
say, why are they all worried about him just having it? But if he's flying it,
Yeah, he's flying it. Yeah, he flies out of the local airport here in town, and
okay. So he brought him down.
so he brought him down to us. So we got to talking, and he was like, "Yeah, I have this dream that once I retire, because he worked at a vehicle manufacturing plant in the area, which is
Yeah.
a huge employer in this area. But he's like, once I retire, I'm gonna move to Costa Rica. Like that's my goal. He's like the exchange rate between American dollars and whatever Costa Rica, whatever currency that they use, is so good that
Good.
I can live off my pension and never have to do anything for the rest of my life. Just live off my pension from retirement.
That'd be nice.
And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. That sounds great, whatever. So anyway, coming back to the bottles, which is a whole nother story. I couldn't service them because number one, the valve in the bottle was all left-hand threads. The exact opposite. So I had no adapters to test it. And then even if I could get the adapters to test it, all of the symbols and all the writing on the bottle was in Russian. So it's like, I don't speak Russian. So I couldn't help him out, but we ended up getting an exemption because of all of these things. And it's now listed as historic. You know how basically with your car, you can put antique tags on your car and... you
get like an exception.
Yeah, it's basically...
As long as you pay the government their fee, they're okay.
Yes.
As long as they get their cut. They don't actually care. They just want their cut of the money.
And dude, that happens all the time with people buying this stuff. And he bought it literally from a dude that had a friend that was a general in Czechoslovakia. And
I was gonna say, how the fuck you just like buy an old fucking Russian?
He found a forum on the internet. Then there was a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy, and when he bought it, you technically buy 2 aircraft because they basically sell you an aircraft's worth of spare parts to go with it.
Oh yeah,
and they shipped it over into the U.S. in this huge container, completely disassembled, like down to the nuts and bolts.
So Did he have to hire somebody to reassemble it?
The part of the thing is they send a dude over with the
Oh, he comes with it?
Yeah. So he comes into the US and he comes in on some type of like tourist visa.
Where did he get it delivered to? I'm just imagining him like at his house and somebody knock, "Hello. I am Vlad. I am here to put together jet."
That's pretty much. He said that he had his phone that had Google Translate and that's how they communicated back and forth. The guy didn't speak any English. But the best,
he knew 2 words: vodka and yes.
So he comes into town, which here where we live, and they got the container shipped into town and to the airport, and it took the guy like 2 weeks to put the aircraft together.
Is he paying to put him up then?
Well, he put him up for 2 weeks, and then his visa was a 60-day visa, like one of the tourism visas. So after he put the plane together, the guy was like, "All right, I'm going to go explore the United States.
I see America."
Yeah, that's literally what he did. It's like he had a backpack and he like backpacked across the U.S. for 2 months.
Did he have a wife or anything? I go to America, put jet. I look, I come back.
So the dude was like, "I don't know if he left. I don't know."
Is that his thing? Does he just follow jets around?
Yeah. He worked for the guy that was selling them. And that's just what
that's literally like out of a movie. That's the guy that you're never sure, is he the bad guy or not? And you're like, he's so lovable. He's such the great character. You love him. No way he's the bad guy. And then you find out he double-crossed you and he was the bad guy.
Yeah. But no, he said the best part was like, after the 2 weeks, like he stayed at his house and he fed him and did everything for 2 weeks. And then after that, the guy was like, "All right, I'm going to go see the U.S." And he's like, "I don't know if he left. He could be
never just heard anything again.
From him again.
Could have just stayed there."
Yeah, he's like, just no clue. But
he's a mechanic down the street now.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, yeah, he's got this Russian training MiG that he flies around, and he tells me all these stories. Well, where I was going with this is he would come in fairly regularly because he would wheel and deal in scuba tanks and some other stuff, and so he would come in maybe every couple of months with something he needed done, and then. Right before COVID, maybe early 2019, he shows up with his pickup truck and he's got 4 big cylinders on the back and he goes, "Hey, do you want to buy these?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we actually could use them, so we work out a deal." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm getting rid of all my stuff. I just retired and we're moving to Costa Rica."
Oh shit, he's doing it?
And I was like, okay, so I bought, those tanks were the tanks that he used to fill the little bottles so he could fly. So he's like, I'm getting rid of that. He said he sold his plane and I haven't heard from him since. So I'm assuming he accomplished his dream of, moving to Costa Rica and living this like American in exile type life.
Sounds like it. Fuck,
I
living the
mean,
life.
but he
Damn.
was. It was the weirdest thing. I've met some of the weirdest people in my job, and he was way up the list of just like, I don't want to like, I don't believe you, but he's got just enough like evidence, like he's got
Yeah,
these Russian
it sounds
bottles.
right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like, it sounds right.
he
But
could have found those at like the DI, and he's like, I'm gonna go fool this fucker.
exactly, who knows? But yeah, but that's the thing is
Does
like,
that thing still work? Like, if you flew it, there's no way. Like, it's not like Star Wars where you fly it over to Russia now, and you're like in Russian airspace. Give us your code passkey.
I
Like,
well, I think I mean, you have to change all the registration to it. I know you have to change the tail number,
yeah.
to a civilian. And there's a lot of those planes out there that are in civilian, they're that are used by civilians. I mean, most of those planes from the Cold War, if you have the money, you can get.
Those are the ones you hear about all the plane crashes all the time. It's always the civilian weird ones that like.
I would say the only ones I know that from that era that you can't purchase is you still can't purchase the F-16s. I know some of the other American fighters you can purchase, but the F-16s you can't
It's
because
just technology. They
well, no, they never ended the F-16 program. They just like paused it,
oh,
and that's why they had such a
so it's
hard
still
time.
current, so you
Yes,
can't have it.
yeah, so it's still considered current
Where do those
military.
sit?
Well,
Man, I'd love to go to the fucking the uh the airline graveyard, the fucking giant one where there's just 747, just all kinds of just how big is that fucking thing?
oh, it'd have to be huge. But no, that was an issue that they had with in Top Gun and the new one is they couldn't get their hands on an F-16 because it was still considered,
Oh, for the movie?
yeah. So all of the stuff in all the F-16 stuff was done with either like mock-ups or computer animation, like that
You're
whole.
telling me that movie was fake?
I know, shocking. But yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
bullshit.
the F-16 stuff was all a CG because they couldn't get their hands on it. But like the F-18s, the Navy was like, "Oh yeah, fucking here's a dozen of
Yeah,
them."
here you go.
Um,
Fucking get in them. Yeah, I know they actually rode in some F-18s.
I think,
There's a scene in the movie where Miles Teller bangs the shit out of his fucking
well,
head, and it looks so good they put it in.
I think that I hope that they really look at the cinematography for that, and in my opinion, I think it should win awards like Oscars
Oh yeah, no, that movie
because
was great. I don't even like Tom Cruise, and I fucking watched it.
yeah, well they gave all the pilots, they put GoPros in the planes and had not only did the actors have to be actors, but Tom Cruise sent them all to like a cinematography school so they could all learn to be cinematographers so they could get the angles and the light and all that stuff.
All
And
the shit.
yeah, I was like, I mean, I think that's really fucking neat. So we know when you see them, they pull this huge G climb and you see their face sucked backwards, yeah, that's actually real. That's not
But the planes are fake.
well, the F-16 planes were fake.
Oh, okay.
And
The rest are real.
the fifth gen fighters, they didn't want to, they didn't call them by what they were, which was the Su-57s, I think is what they were considering fifth gen stuff. Yeah, Dewey.
Huh.
Yeah, it's the graveyard in Tucson. You're right.
Yeah, I was just looking up. There's a huge one. Literally, I'm on Google right now. I think it's like 3 hours from me.
Well, somewhere that in one of
That was
those
10 hours from me.
um, somewhere in one of those graveyards, I've seen a picture where they just put a sign up that said the stealth fighter, and that there's just nothing there, and it's just the sign. I think that is one of
Yeah.
the funniest.
I know there's a big one in, I think, Russia or somewhere. There's a big one because one of the drone pilots I know went there and they let him fly his drone around in the fucking graveyard around the planes and shit.
Oh, that's cool. That's absolutely drone technology. I think is some of the coolest stuff that we're putting out there. We went to a Mexican restaurant for lunch
Yeah.
Friday when I was at work, and behind the little restaurant district right there, there's a landing pad for drones. and they are running. They're delivering food
All for
and
deliveries.
yeah, they're delivering stuff with drones. And I didn't. I knew it was there, but I'd never actually seen it in action because we were standing out in the parking lot talking to some people, and one of the servers walked by carrying 2 bags of food, and it didn't really. It was such commonplace, I just didn't think about it. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden
And then you hear,
yeah, you hear the sound and you look and you see the thing is hovering over. It hovers over the ground and it drops this cord. It's a 50-foot cord with a hook on it, almost like a crane attachment. And you attach the food to the hook, and it raises it back up to even at the level with the drone, and it just off it goes. And I don't know what the range is. It can't be that far. A couple of miles, I think, would probably be the
it
limit.
depends. You can, yeah, it depends.
But and then like we stood there long enough that we watched it take off, and maybe 10, 15 minutes later, you heard it coming back, and they've got
Huh.
like 4 or 5 of them that run routes or
Remember
however
when
it
old
works.
people were like shooting drones down and shit?
That's what I was like. This is like skeet shooting with prizes. I mean, this sounds fun, but I
drone
I
drone
thought that was so
technologies
cool.
drone technology is fucking insane. Have you heard the newest Amazon patent? We all know Amazon's tried drone delivery and stuff,
Hmm.
and I think they're still doing it in certain parts. They have a new one that I'm pretty sure they got a patent on. I seen some uh, concept video and discussions and a bunch of stuff on it, but they're talking about warehouses where there's almost like a fucking uh, not the old balloons, like what's the famous one that blew up?
The Hindenburg.
The Hindenburg, yeah, not like those, but slightly different, like similar to that, where it'll be like a floating warehouse where the drones fly out of that.
Hmm.
And I was like, what the? That's some fucking future shit. Cause
I think it's so
we're
cool.
full on the ground. What else we got? Let's use up what's in the air.
Well, the one or the robots on the ground that they send out and they'll like ride up to your house and the little things on wheels.
Yeah, and people kick them over and
Yeah,
shit.
that's fucked up. Like this robot did nothing to you. This is how the Matrix
Yeah, it
begins.
sort of looks like a blimp, duty. Sort of. There's you probably look it up. Amazon blimp warehouse, and it probably come up. The coolest thing of drones though is like I don't even know how to explain it until you've done it. You can find a billion fucking videos on YouTube of it, but the FPV stuff where your camera is on the drone and you're flying it
Oh
live,
yeah,
and it's as if you're in the drone.
yeah. I've watched some of the drone racing and stuff like that, and I don't that I mean I've been a gamer all my life, and watching what they're able to do and the reflexes that it takes to fly
Yeah, I
those
can't.
things,
I can't do that.
I'm like I'm blown away trying
I
to.
can fly mine, but mine only goes like maybe 30 miles an hour. Some of those fucking things go like 100 miles an hour, and they're
Yeah.
going whoosh, 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 whipping in and out of fucking.
Well, that and then
And
they
they're
have to memorize the course.
well, yeah, and you're doing it 3 dimensional. You're controlling every single. You're not a race car going
Right.
left or right and fat forward and back. You're going every single fucking direction.
Yeah,
Like
it's so wild to watch, but I don't watch it very often because, like Duty says,
yeah, you get dizzy. What?
it's hard to watch.
Look up Johnny FPV. Uh, look up Johnny FPV, and why I say that is he does he got huge because he has a fast drone, but he does like cinematic shots with it.
Well, I like that.
What was that movie by Ryan Reynolds that just came out? Red.
Oh, so Red Notice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah.
a scene in that Johnny FPV shot for them.
Oh, well, that's cool. That
Yeah.
was a good
So
movie,
like,
by the
look up
way.
Johnny FPV. He does stuff fast, but it's cinematic and like smooth, and it doesn't give you a headache, and it's still fucking amazing. Some of the best shit you'll ever see. Drone shots. You see regular drone shots like a Walmart shooting a commercial, and you're like, oh, that's cool. No, no, it's not. Watch what Johnny FPV does, and you're like, oh, that's what you should do with a drone.
Well, Duty brings up the Ross Chastain, which was really fucking cool. I love if you watch NASCAR now, they do drone videos Or
Hmm.
they use some of their drones to do some of the
Yeah,
broadcasting.
I know some pilots that do that for them, also for drifting and like a bunch of
It's
stuff.
it's
The shot you can get with a drone, you can't compare.
no.
Like,
Mm-mm. Well, like yeah, because I love it at the very end because that's usually when you see them and they're out there doing like a burnout in the middle of the middle of the start finish line and the drone is following them while they're doing it. I think that's so fucking cool. I don't even know who won. Who won the race today? It was their championship
uh,
race.
did they ever announce a rule? Everyone was talking about how their
Yeah,
NASCAR's definitely putting a rule in
they
for
said that
that.
they were going to address the rule and they were going to address it in the off season.
Yeah.
So
I love how much attention it's got for them. The biggest NASCAR's been in fucking 15 years because dude rolled the wall like it's fucking he's playing GameCube.
so it looks like if Joey Logano won it, that means he's the championship. Yep. Yeah, so Joey Logano won it. The only one, the only of the four that I didn't want to see win it. Um, but
Uh,
he's just a bit of a prick.
it depends on the wind, duty. There's another guy, Mr. Steel. There's a video of him flying his drone in Hawaii. Like there's this one section of this crazy like ravine and like one of those like stairway to heaven kind of thingies, and the wind there is like 80 miles an hour, and he's like, I'm gonna see if I can fly my drone here, and he does it, and it's actually not that bad. The little flight controllers, the computers on the drones are actually pretty fucking insane. They can handle like you, even in wind up to 80 miles an hour. If you tell it to do something, it'll do it. Like
I would say,
the drone technology is insane.
yeah, I would say it probably all has to do with the power of the motors of the for the gyros and everything. Um, I was sure that you could probably have drones that could withstand pretty serious wind.
Yeah.
But it's just cool shit, man. It's just that we're living in an age of just some of the neatest technology. 3D printers and uh, drones and all of this, and the biggest social media, the biggest social media company out there is now controlled by the most eccentric weirdo that has ever been.
Yeah,
Out
we're living in a time where Vine might come back because it's the only uh monetizational way. I don't know if that's the right word. That Elon might be able to save his own fucking skin on the Twitter deal. Fucking what a freaking joke.
oh,
Have you seen the new thing that he's got going that he just announced today? I think it was, yeah, he just announced it today because so many people, especially a bunch of people with check marks, have been posing as Elon, and they've
that's
been
what
using that old school photo of him where he's like fucking bald before he got the hair transplant. And that like they'll be like, "Oh, my wife left me," and like they're just making fun of him. Well, they changed the rule on Twitter now. Elon tweeted out today, going forward, any Twitter handle engaging in impersonating without clearly specifying parody will be permanently suspended. And he's been suspending accounts like the last few
that's what we were
days.
talking about. Kathy Griffin just got a ban for it. I just think it's hilarious that you have somebody that was screaming that he was buying Twitter because he wanted to make sure that free speech was exercised. Is now just limiting free speech simply because of the fact that they're making fun of him.
Yeah. The other funny part, now that he did that, people were now saying that okay, this is parody, but they're still taking advantage of the check mark. So they're still using his name and saying it is parody. So now he has a new thing he announced today too. When you do a name change on Twitter, you'll temporarily lose your check mark. You'll have to go through like a re-verification process every time you change your name, which is so dumb because that used to be a big thing on Twitter. For like, let's say you go to like CES, you'd name your Twitter thing like such and such at CES, or like you
Right.
change it all the time.
No,
Now you
I think it's
can't.
hilarious. Like I'll be the first one to say,
Yeah, he's throwing a
watching.
temper tantrum. Everyone making fun of him, and he's
Yeah.
just making up ridiculous
Well,
rules.
I mean, he. I understand him, or at least I feel like I understand him.
Yeah,
He is a child that grew up on the internet. He understands trolling. He understands what it takes to get a rise out of people on the internet. That's why he was so committed to things like Dogecoin and stuff like that. Is he knows that it's a meme of itself. But now he's having to pay the consequences for these things. Like I think he brought up the Twitter deal as like just another way to troll. Like, well, I'll just fucking buy Twitter then.
Yeah.
And the Twitter's like, well, all right.
You have to now. Yeah, I didn't realize Twitter's been my favorite for a while now, a few years, for so many reasons. We've talked about it 100 times.
Right.
I didn't realize Twitter hasn't been profitable for quite a long time.
I don't understand how any social media company, I mean, Facebook,
Well,
Twitter.
unless you sell the shit out of your data like Facebook does, Facebook is profitable. Facebook makes money.
That would
Twitter,
have to be
especially
it.
when Jack was in charge, did not want to do that for the most part. They would sell minimal amounts of data, but they wouldn't gather a huge profile on you like Facebook does. Facebook knows every single fucking thing about you. Twitter doesn't do that. Twitter only gathers your basic data and sells it as advertising. They don't sell just your data, like, so they haven't been profitable. they I think the last numbers I heard, they were losing about $1 billion a year. They were in the red $1 billion a year.
How does
And
the
now
company
that
stay? I don't understand that.
I don't know, I guess you're too big to fail. Well, that's why they wanted him to buy it. Oh, you're going to buy it? Cool. Good. We need a way out. The problem is Elon took a loan out when he bought Twitter. So now he's paying on this loan another $1 billion a year. So unless he changes drastically,
the interest is $1 billion a year. That doesn't include.
So yeah, so
that doesn't
he
include his actual principal payments.
okay. So not even counting his principal, without changing anything to Twitter, he's $2 billion at a $2 billion loss every year. So
Yeah.
he has to do something.
Well, and that's one of the things that made me so angry when he was talking about buying Twitter. Was like, oh, I'll just buy Twitter. He didn't use a dime of his money.
Yeah, he didn't even buy Twitter.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, he just he signed some papers and made a business
Yeah.
transaction.
well, and that's what annoys
He
me.
has
is-
the assets and money to cover it, but
Yeah.
he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't use a dime of his money. What he did was he put up his stocks in Tesla.
No, he used his leverage to get
Yeah.
a loan to
Yeah.
buy.
and I'm just like,
Yeah, I just assumed he would actually use his
Rich
assets.
person
I'm like,
math.
wow, he's really gonna do it. And then after I heard that he took a loan, I'm like, oh, what a fucking
yeah, it's
You
rich
idiot.
people math because my business can't run $1 in the red.
no.
I was like, I cannot, I can't be in debt. I have to,
No.
I have to be able to pay all my people. I have to pay rent. I have to pay the lights. I got to pay my payroll. I got to pay all my vendors.
I remember when I learned, I think it was a senior in high school or somewhere around there. I was still in high school. I remember when I learned what Black Friday was.
What the real Black Friday was.
Yeah, what it actually means,
Yeah.
where so many companies are running in the red until Black Friday,
Yeah.
that November and December is so big that they finally turn a profit and make money at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, it comes back to the other side of it. When I tell, like, the way things exist right now in our tax code, corporations do not pay taxes. They
Nope.
don't. What?
Some corporations don't even pay for their product. Did you
Yeah.
know? I don't know where I learned this from. I cannot remember. On some business podcast when I've done too much research into I know too much stuff. But anyways, did you know Walmart, a majority of Walmart's major deal brands, Walmart does not pay for the product until after they've sold it.
Yeah. That makes total sense. That's good business.
Most of the stuff on their shelves, they haven't paid for. They pay for it after you bought it and took it out of the store, which is fucking mind-blowing. But they have such leverage that they can do that. They can tell Tide, send us fucking 40 tons of fucking dishwasher pods. We're going to sell it to these kids to eat. And Tide just has to do it and hope that Walmart will pay them. And Walmart's big enough that they pay their bills, but sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that blows my mind is how many companies sell their product as a name brand and then also sell an off brand of
Yeah,
the
and it's the same fucking thing.
it's
We've
this
talked about this before
yeah.
too.
One of our customers, um, I won't name names and I won't say what the product is, but they produce a product that all goes in the exact same container. The container is the same across the board, and at the very end of the assembly line, it has four little chutes, and every one it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and it repeats, and every chute is a different brand, and the
Yeah, and
difference
then
of it is
just the
the
label
label.
is
Yeah,
different. Yeah,
as it goes down this chute, and it gets one label put on it, and goes down this chute, gets another label, and it's like name brand, another name brand, and then when I was in there, it was two name brand products, and then it was the Walmart brand, and then it was one of our local grocery store brands.
yeah,
That was all just boom, 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 and I just stood there for a second, and my brain exploded. That it was
yeah.
like it's not even like the corporation that's putting the label that's getting put on those bottles doesn't even have a hand in production
Yeah,
of
but then
that.
it dictates the price. The price is more and everything, and then you
Yeah,
see people in the store buying
yeah,
the ones that you know. We don't even know how many of those out there. There's some that are so obvious because you're like, this is the same fucking thing, and then you just put a Kroger sticker on
yeah, exactly.
it.
Yeah,
You put great value on it and expect me to think that it's a great value.
yeah, and and that's one of the things that you know, as I've gotten older, and I've got families and budgeting and all that. We buy
Yeah.
so many off-brand products because it's literally the fucking same thing.
No, I go by taste and like quality.
Yeah, there's a few products that, especially grocery products, that I will not buy off-brand stuff because it is different.
Yeah, like Jif peanut butter.
No, I'm a Peter Pan guy.
Oh, Peter Pan's really good. We actually switch every few months. We're like, all right, we're tired of Jif. Let's go back to Skippy, and then we'll do Skippy for a few months. The problem is we probably eat way more peanut butter than you do.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
about that.
why.
I eat a ton
Me
of
and
peanut
my me
butter.
and my kids fucking like I'm like, we're buying another big. What the fuck are you guys doing to it? Are you guys bathing in it? I don't understand.
No, no, I'm the exact same way. And it's just me. I'm the only one that eats a lot of peanut
But
butter.
I'll
That's
never buy the off-brand peanut butter. That shit's garbage.
no, I don't. No, peanut butter is one. Um, Ketchup is another. Um,
Ketchup until just recently, because I've always been a Heinz guy. And
yeah,
I'm a Steelers fan, and I've always been like, all right, Heinz, I'm supporting. This is how I'm supporting them. I'm not going to a game. Since they lost the Heinz deal, just literally last week, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy the Great Value and see how it is. It's not bad. I think I'm gonna go with the Great Value. It's half the price.
yeah. No, it's. Um, let's see some of the other stuff. Oh, I buy the name brand toilet paper. That's a big one. I buy Angel Soft. I don't skimp on that.
Oh no, that's
That
what
is
I get, Angel
yeah.
Soft. I don't
That
even know
is
if
a.
that's like the cheap name brand. That's like the
It
cheapest you
might
could
be.
go.
I I
I'll
can't
never
tell
get one
you.
worse than that.
I can't tell you anything about toilet paper brands because that is the only brand I've ever
I
purchased.
only know Charmin is overpriced just because there's bears that wipe their ass on the
Oh,
fucking package.
I couldn't tell you if they were more expensive or not because, like I said, it's not. I don't
Yeah,
even
I've
look at
only got
prices.
Angel
It's just
Soft for I don't know how at least 10 years, as
yeah,
long as I can remember Angel Soft.
yep. Like I don't ask questions about it. I don't look at the price because there's certain items like I have to have it. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
it costs. I have to have it,
Oh, I just
that
remember
files is one of them.
I had a train of thought, and then we started talking about toilet paper and then brand. So I was talking to my wife today. Uh, she's in college right now for a business degree, right? And she was talking about this how hard some of her classes are right now. They're making her do a Python programming class. I'm like, why do you need to know that for business? That makes no sense. You're never gonna program something.
I never took that.
They
That's
should they should you should be they should teach you a management class of how to find somebody that knows Python programming. They shouldn't be having you do
yeah,
programming.
that's real business. Yeah,
And then she was like, I don't know, that's just what they have in there. And I'm like, colleges are such a scam. They
yep,
add on so much bullshit
yep.
where it's so variable. This job, you could learn everything you need to know in 3 months. This job, you could learn everything you need to know in 5 years. And both of them require, this degree that requires 4 years. And so then to fill that, they give you all this fucking bullshit in there. And like I was like, if they're going to teach you a business degree, if they wanted to impress me and be like, oh, that's a good college, they should have in there psychology.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in business, you should understand psychology and why and
Yeah.
how the human brain works and why they make the
Well,
weird fucking decisions they do.
on the upside, Heather's working on her master's in business, and
Yeah,
she actually did have a. I don't know if it was a whole class, but I know it was at least a couple of lectures on
on psychology.
business psychology and marketing psychology, and what makes groups of people more interested in buying this, buying
Yeah,
generics over name brand, and it was
why
actually really
something
neat.
1999 is more liable to be purchased over something that's $20.
Yeah, and with her doing everything online, I've sat in on a few of her lectures, um, and some of it's actually, at least on the master's level, some of it seems to be,
Yeah. Well,
int-
maybe after if you go after
but
4 years, now they
yeah.
start getting you the stuff that actually is useful.
But see, this is the issue that she's ran into, and it was I literally just had this conversation with my dad on Friday.
Hmm.
Was a lot of what she's learning in her field, she already knows because
Yeah.
she's worked in the real world, and okay, here's how you balance a ledger book. Here's how you do do
Yeah.
these mundane business tasks, and it's like
Yeah.
it's hard, at least for me, to sit through those classes because it's like
Hmm.
I already know these things. Why am I
Yeah.
here? And
I hate to say it, and I hate to like discourage people that want to go to college. I hate the blanket statement say college is a scam, but college is a scam. If they were about teaching, you would go in and say, I want this degree. And they go, all right, take these tests to prove what you do or don't know.
mhm,
And then you take them, and just like you said, and then they'd go, oh, well, you already know that, so you don't need to do those credits. Just do these things, and we'll give you your degree. You do your final test. It would be about teaching. But because it's not, they make you take all this stuff
yeah,
and then a language and all this stuff that you're never going to use that has nothing to do with your
yeah,
fucking degree just so they can have you on the hook for more semesters and more money.
yeah. Well, I've never used the science classes that I took in my job.
No.
Repeat. Why are you making English majors take?
Yeah, community college, which is literally shit on, like Duty Bound said, community college actually has value, which
Yeah,
is shit on by all the big colleges and all the people. And you went to community college, yeah, to get a certification that I needed because
hmm
it's specialized training. I got the thing that I wanted and needed, and now I know that thing.
there's some fields. I mean, I will say this, to kind of like you said, it is a scam and it isn't a scam, but it is a scam.
Yeah.
There's some fields that it makes total and absolute sense to have higher levels of education,
Hmm.
engineering's, architectural,
A
physics,
doctor,
your doctors, big stuff,
real doctors, not chiropractors.
but with that being said, these much more in depth fields absolutely need higher levels of education. But if you're wanting to go out and you just want to you want to, like what I was doing when I was in college was getting a business degree so I could be more useful in my business with dad.
Yeah.
You know, it was done at a 2-year college.
Yeah.
I didn't need to go anywhere else. And I'll say this, even at the 2-year college, half the stuff I took while I was there I didn't need.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It should only be specialized. Some
Yeah.
stuff should take 6 months, 9 months. It should be exactly what you need to learn. It shouldn't go, well, you need the full 2 years to get the degree.
That's why
Why?
I would like to see the term trade schools get
Yeah.
really expanded because Heather's she's working on becoming a professor to teach events management and hotel management stuff. Okay, these kids that are going
Yeah.
into this, that are going to basically, you get into this program that she's teaching in, you get into this program, they have a 99% placement rate in high level positions with major businesses like Disney Cruise Lines, Disney Resorts, Marriott, these big companies. You know, those kids that are going to that, they're going to walk out and they're going to walk into high 5-figure jobs.
Yeah.
You know, so they don't need to learn science. They don't need to
No.
learn history. Now,
No, they don't need one semester of French
no,
for no reason.
no, and you don't need these things, and then it is extremely overpriced and highly bloated. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah, no,
duty. It's
but I,
I,
I, I
I
just
I hate also like discouraging people that want to go to college. I always when someone tells me they're going to college, I ask the same question we all ask. Well, what for? And then based on what they say, depending who they are, most time I just go, "Wow, congrats!" I won't say anything.
right.
But if I know them a little better, I go, "You probably could just like go get a certification for that and not waste 2 years. You could get
Yeah.
that done in 3 months.
You know,
You're wasting your time and your money."
unless you're enrolling into some like big program like what she's
Yeah,
going to
if
be teaching
it's
in, that I understand going to
yeah,
higher
if it's
level education.
specialized and you
Yeah.
need that degree for a reason, then yeah, then I would say if you're gonna be a doctor or whatever. Sorry, I'm covering my camera here. Yeah, I don't know.
But no, it's the same thing, and I hate it. I hate to see how expensive it is. Um,
Yeah, and it just gets worse and worse. It's cause the inflation.
yeah,
It's cause of fucking Joe Biden.
yeah.
I saw that this TikTok the other day. Somebody was saying, "Look at this sticker one of the Trump supporters put on my car, and it says fuck Joe Biden." And he's like, "You idiots don't realize we don't like him either." Like,
That's the same thing I say too. He's like, I don't
he
really
was
like
just
him
slightly
either.
better than Trump. We all politicians are evil and supporting all these scams and inflation, and they're just there to make money. Biden's better than Trump. Obama was better than both of them, but there's
Mm,
still politicians that are making a shit ton of money off of American struggles and aren't actually out to change the system. They're just working in the system that they've been given.
yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get a president that'll change anything. To
Mm,
think that and the whole cult following that Trump got and literally people buying his swag and wearing his fucking red hat just blew my mind. I never thought I'd see some shit like that.
that was really strange. That
And they still now they're
yeah.
still on about him. It's like
That's one of the things that really bothers me the most about what
yeah, the
they.
psychology of that is
Yeah.
so weird. And they literally think that we support Biden like that because oh well you don't like Trump so then you're for Biden. It's
Right.
like
I have yet to see a Joe Biden flag on the back of a pickup truck, or in this
no
case, it's probably on the back of a Prius. You know,
yeah
um,
I've never seen a "Make America Senile Again" hat.
showing how many bits. That is.
I don't know.
I don't think I have a ticker on this one showing anything.
It shows you sent one, duty.
Yeah, I don't have an overlay for this one. Um, showing bits.
It might. Yeah, he probably doesn't have it set up right.
Well,
Who
no.
knows?
I'm using the overlay that you built.
Well, no, not the overlay. On stream, it shows duty as #1 cheerer, but it only shows one bit.
Because it's set by.
I think he's saying that maybe
Oh,
he
oh,
sent
oh.
more before.
Yeah, I don't think it's set up that way, or at least I don't think I have mine set up that way. Hang on.
I don't know. I think you can set it in there to go by stream, or you can go by forever. I'm not sure. I haven't looked in there in a while.
Yeah, no, I
You've
haven't.
yet to
I
vote for the
haven't.
winning president? Well, good for you. I haven't voted at all. And a lot of people will hear that stream, or you can go by forever because I don't think it makes a difference.
Let me see. Now you got me looking here. I haven't actually.
You've yet to vote for the winning president? We might as well, or since we're wrapping up another political post, uh, might as well get to our cream of the week. Do you have a cream of the week?
Um.
I had one that I thought of the other day.
Oh, I don't have that turned on. Is the reason why
You don't have your cream of the week turned
no,
on?
no, in response to what Duty was asking for.
Oh, about the bits?
Yeah, I just don't have that.
He wants to be acknowledged for giving you bits. You always voted F?
Yeah, I'll have to.
You always vote for the females?
Um, let's see. Fuck yeah. I'm trying to look back.
PigPod for president.
I'm trying to think back. Let's see. I'll be very candid. I voted for Vermin Supreme this year.
Is he in again?
Well, no, I've Roman Supreme for this presidential term. I haven't,
Oh,
I haven't early voted. I wanted to early vote, and I just never. I
is
literally
he in?
drive
Let me
by the
see.
early voting poll place every day for work, twice a day. Just never stop and vote. Um, the let's see, in 2020 I voted. In 2021 we didn't have any votes. There was nothing going on in my area, so I didn't vote in 21. Um, and then
The only person I would have wanted to vote for, but again, I didn't, is maybe Bernie.
I voted for him in a primary. Um,
But he was never going to win.
no, but I still voted for him.
Even if he won, he didn't win.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we've proven that even if you win the popular vote, that doesn't mean
it doesn't
anything.
mean not in the
So
Democratic
again,
Party.
why should I go
Yeah,
vote?
yeah, not in the Democratic Party when they have the super delegates.
Yeah.
He was never going to win because of the super delegates. But let's see, 2020 in 2020, I voted for Vermin Supreme. In 2016, I don't remember who I voted in the off years. I vote I've always voted. In 2016, I voted for Vermin Supreme. In 2012, I voted for Ron Johnson. In
John Johnson.
yeah,
Isn't that what that cat used to say? Wasn't
no,
that for his campaign ad? That would have been a great
he
fucking
was the
campaign ad.
he was the one that got really really high before.
Vote Ron Johnson.
He's the one that got really really high before an interview, and they asked him if he could locate Syria on a map, and he's like, "What's Syria?"
Oh, yeah, that
'Cause
doesn't
he
help.
was so fucking high, and then
So
and that was
my whole problem with like the elections and politics and all that stuff, my whole thought of it is literally the same thing that happened with the Stanford prison experiment, okay? Even if you were a great person, you were fucking fantastic. You can already see where I'm going with this. You were a wonderful human being. As soon as you get thrown into the system and you're in the system now and you see how it works, you either get with the system or you're thrown right back out of it.
yeah.
You kind of fall in line, and whether you even consciously recognize it or not, you might slowly overturn, make, compromises and slight shifts in your thinking and beliefs and go, well, we can do that, but that's for the greater good. It's helping the homeless or whatever happens. I feel like eventually everyone, if you're in politics long enough, you're going to do some bad shit and you're going to be a terrible person.
Right.
And that's why I don't really like any politician. Like,
No, I mean
it's,
you can make and therefore a long time I had the opinion of don't vote, don't bitch. Um,
I can bitch.
yeah. Well, no, that would I mean when I was young, like I
I
said,
get what you're saying, though.
over
That's the
over
thought of, well,
yeah.
you didn't help change it, so why can you say anything?
Um, that was a thing, but we don't. Well, duty, like you said, you're right. To get shit done, you have to compromise, but there's no compromising. I mean,
No.
we're so split, in camps that there is no getting anything done.
Yeah.
I mean, you have people voting against something simply because
Well, yeah,
the other
that's
side
what the
wants it.
Democrats do, or
Yeah.
that's what the Republicans.
And both sides
Just
are guilty.
because it has an R or a D, they
Yeah.
no longer even look at the issue itself.
Yeah.
They look, well, what is?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, both sides are superbly guilty of this. So there's no bias in my opinions, but that's just the way the system works. And what's going to suck is, in my opinion, what's going to happen with the elections coming up this week is I think the Republicans are going to take over the House, and I think the
Not my house.
yeah, the Democrats are going to pick up a few more seats in the Senate. And so we're going to have a divided Congress. Okay? So, and then what's going to happen?
So it's going to get shut down. It's going to do
that's
the
what's
whole.
going to happen because we have,
Yeah.
in February, we have a new budget a new budget bill that has to be voted on. And the House, the Republicans are going to slash everything.
They're going to go.
Yep, they're going to
yeah.
go super down the line of all the things they're going to cut. They're going to send it over to the Senate. The Senate is going to look at it and go, well, nope, we're not voting for this. And we're going to have a government shutdown, and it's going to get shut down. And we're going to have this like stalemate political battle, and it's going to go on for.
And then prices are going to go up,
Yep.
and they're going to blame the shutdown for no reason.
Yep.
They
And
were fine.
This is going to go on for a few weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then they're going to have this like super hard pressure to agree on a budget. And then what they're going to do And what they're going to do is they're going to turn around and say, you know what? Let's just pass the last budget,
Yeah.
and nothing's going
No,
to
I agree.
change.
I agree with Duty. We just need to stop spending altogether. That should be the budget. We're not spending anything. You guys figure it out, and then just.
Well, I mean, no, I completely disagree. There's tons of things that the government should be spending money on.
That's the problem is they don't.
Yeah,
How much are we still spending on fucking military?
right. We choose a lot of the.
Now, because of fucking Putin is wild and crazy. Now I could see that maybe we should be spending money on a little bit of military. Still nowhere near what we are.
Oh, we could slash our budget by 80% and still kick Russia's ass. I'm not worried about.
I'm just saying now because there's a wild dictator out there.
Yeah.
I could see the argument
Who
for the last 10 years just fighting to drill oil in the Middle East. We didn't need it. It just was about money.
who, by the way, it's now openly confirmed. He's been diagnosed with it's it's either colon cancer or pancreatic cancer, and Parkinson.
Putin?
Yeah, and Parkinson's disease.
Says who? That sounds made up.
Yeah, and it could
That
be.
sounds like some bullshit
It
that's
could
been
be
spread.
American. Yeah, it could be American propaganda. Which
He's Russian. Have you never heard of he's Russian. His fucking
Russians
Russian
don't get cancer.
his Russian genes are in there kicking cancer's ass. What are you talking about?
But yeah,
He's been 87 years old for the last 20 years.
he
Look at
hasn't
it. What do you mean?
aged. You can go all
Yeah,
the way
look
back
at it.
and
He
look
looked
since,
identical when he started his run in
Yeah.
2000.
He looks when you go back and look because there's video of him with Khrushchev, like all the way going back into the early '90s.
Yeah, and he looks identical.
He
No,
really has.
that's what I'm saying. His Russian genes that's made up. Whoever's spreading that's false. I don't believe it for a second.
Anyway, no, my cream of the week.
Ukraine forever.
Yeah, Ukraine forever.
I've got to say the fucking Ukraine TikToks and shit that I've seen, fucking love them.
Or do you follow their actual TikTok channel?
No, the algorithm just shows me. Like I saw one today, these dudes standing in a field with a heat-seeking rocket shooting down a fucking
helicopter.
no, a missile, a Russian missile. So they used a faster missile to shoot down a slower missile out of the fucking sky, just in the middle of a field. They're just like drinking and he's just out there, poof, and shot down a fucking missile.
The Ukrainian military government has its own TikTok account where they put out a lot of information, but they also put out a lot of feel good videos or like military videos and stuff like that.
I might have to watch it.
Yeah, some of the videos are actually really really good. But no, Putin is absolutely he's a Bond villain. He's former KGB.
Putin's terrible.
Yeah, he's
I love Ukrainians and I love Russians. I fucking love those
Oh yeah.
vodka drinking fuckers. They're both amazing. I just praise their genes. They're better than us. Their food is not filled with chemicals and bullshit like ours.
No,
is.
just their government propaganda.
Yeah, just Putin is.
Yeah. But man, yeah. The scary part about it is his second in command is supposedly a lot more extreme, has a lot more extreme ideologies than Putin does.
Isn't that what they always said about Hitler too, though? Or the like some of the people under him were actually way more evil than Hitler ever was.
Some of them were, and then some of them tried to kill him a couple of times. You know.
Well, he beat him to it.
Yeah. But once again, the only reason why Hitler committed suicide is the fact that he realized that it wasn't the Americans that were taking his compound; it was the Russians. And if the Russians
he's fucking scared of Russians.
If the Russians would have gotten a hold of him alive, fuck what they would have done to him. So it was way better. And once again, this is shit you aren't taught in schools, which it should be. But if Hitler was not afraid of the United States. Hitler was not worried about the United States. It was the Russians that scared the fuck out of him.
Yeah, Russians and the Jews really scared him.
Well, he was trying to make a cleaner race. I don't know. He was fucking crazy. So, but no, I guess.
What was your cream of the week?
My cream of the week, yeah. Goddamn, I don't really have a cream of the week. I will say it's been such a busy and hectic week. Oh, I take that back. I watched All's Quiet on the Western Front.
I was just looking that up when I typed Hitler in Google.
Yeah,
That popped up.
I watched that.
I want to watch it. It looks so fucking good.
It's really really good. It's incredibly well
Isn't it
made.
a remake? Didn't they already make a? Isn't
Yeah, I think
they
it.
made a film?
Yeah, it's essentially a remake, but it's a German. It's made by a German company. I'm assuming it's all in German,
Is it
and it's
is it
all
actual
no,
Germans?
it's dubbed, um,
Oh,
which was a surprise. I didn't realize that it was dubbed until I started watching, and I'm like, wait a minute, these words don't line up.
I'll probably
Um,
watch it in German and just read it.
but it was really really good. Um, it was it had it had some I got very attached to the characters, which was what I liked in good stories. Like I can form an attachment. I can empathize with the characters. So yeah, very very well. I don't want to spoil it because you're going to watch it. But
Yeah.
it's pretty
All
brutal.
Quiet on the Western Front. It's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, it's a war movie and it's a World War
Yeah.
One war movie. So I mean, what
Like
we
how
did,
brutal? Like Band of Brothers or
uh, it's
worse?
yeah, it's. I mean, I guess it would be online with, probably Band of Brothers or maybe a little bit more violent. Um,
Mm,
but I mean, it's not overdone in gore. It's like,
mm.
this
It's
person,
well done and
yeah, this
good
person got
taste.
his leg blown off. Yeah, that's kind of what you expect to see. Um, but yeah, well worth a watch, especially if you love history. I don't know a whole lot about World War One, because we weren't overly involved in World War One to a degree that we were in World War
No,
Two.
we weren't. I don't think we were even alive.
Well, yeah. But it was just that battle of the only thing I can tell you about World War One was it was the Archduke Ferdinand was shot. That's it.
Oh no.
That's literally all I
Okay.
know. That's what started World War One.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because I remember that getting glossed over in world history because we're like, oh, the end of the year's coming and we got to take the SOLs, the big standardized test. So we're gonna gloss over it. And I remember very very vividly my history teacher going, the only thing you need to remember from World War One was that Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated, and that's what started World War One. That's it.
That's
You
crazy.
know,
Imagine one guy getting killed and starting.
yeah. So anyway, what's your cream of the week?
Uh, I guess I'm gonna say arenas in Apex.
Mm.
And why I want to bring it up, because I know so many people that don't like Apex and stop playing Apex and don't want anything to do with Apex. And I just want to tell you, if you haven't played arenas, you need to try Arena. It's so fun. It takes all the smooth sliding and gunplay and fucking tactics and everything you get from Apex, but it completely removes the third party bullshit, the fucking getting screwed by loot bullshit. It completely removes all that. It's just the fighting. It's 3v3 round based. First 2-3 or but you have to win by 2. It's fun as fuck. I played the shit out of it when it first came out. Well, not when it first came out. I tried it a few rounds and I didn't like it. I think Q, when he tried it with me a little while ago, he didn't really like it at first either.
Yeah, it took me a little bit of getting used to because I was like, well, one of the other things too that I now understand is I understand their matchmaking, and their matchmaking is based on the your party's strength. And if you have someone in your party that is better, higher ranked, whatever, you're going to get matched with higher ranked people.
Hmm.
And I that was something that you play more than I do. You're better than I am by a factor of at least 10. Um, so we're always getting partied up with people that are better than me by roughly a factor of 10. And because I've gone back and I've played some by myself and I get paired up with people that are around my skill. But that was
Yeah.
when I first started playing. And now that I've been in a lot more matches with you, I think it's sliding my scale up too.
Oh yeah, probably.
I'm getting put in. I'm getting put in lobbies with people that are better than me, and I'm like, this is tough.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm not 100%. Maybe it just feels like it, but I swear it also weighs pretty heavily how well you just did in the last
yeah.
match. If you absolutely fucking ran through a team and just destroyed them, they didn't get a single kill. The team you face the next round, the game's almost like, oh, you're fucking pro now, right? You handed your brother the controller. You're amazing,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden you're like, holy fucking, you kind of get ran through, and like,
Yeah, and
and then you have a few where it was kind of even and kind of close,
and
like,
and that's for the longest time I was such a proponent of skill based matchmaking, and
mhm.
this is now just another argument of why skill based matchmaking it just isn't.
It's not good.
It's good on paper. It sounds good in theory.
It was
It's
better
a lot
when it
like
was done right,
capitalism.
like back in Halo 2.
Well, I mean, um, like I said, it's good in theory, but like when you pair up with your friends and there's a skill gap, just like Duty says, the weakest will suffer. And I mean,
Yeah,
I've struggled. I mean, you know that you'll put up 2,000 damage, and I'm like, I broke 800. You know, and
yeah,
so I've noticed that I have improved and I have been getting better, but and
yeah.
playing better people in theory should make you better. Um, but
Well, as you've noticed too, we run across people and their little banner comes up for their player, and you see, oh, they have 800,000 damage, they have 7,000 kills, they have all fully decked out banner and the
yeah,
animations and the fucking colorized everything, and you're like, oh, these kids might be pretty good. And then we just run through them, and I've made the comment to you several times. I don't understand how you play for that long and you never improve. That makes no sense to me. And then we play arenas, and I see where somebody makes the same mistake round after round after round after round, and they just never change. They go, I'm going to go right side. Oh, it didn't work. I'm going to go right side. Oh, it didn't work. I'm going to go right side. They just do it. And it's like,
hmm
maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm a weirdo, but I just don't see how some people's brains function like that, where you can just continually keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you never sit down to improve. But I'm also super weird. I'm pretty sure I'm leaning towards the autistic scale. Uh, my wife, only like a year or two into me knowing her, said, "I'm pretty sure you have Asperger's." I was like, "Oh, cool. I've never been like officially diagnosed, but thank you for that."
yeah, that takes a very strong relationship to get past a statement like that.
Yeah. So, and ever since then, I've just been like, I think I do. Like, so, like, I look at something, like, the amount of time I have on just fucking shooters alone is insane. I don't even know how many 40,000, 50,000 hours I have on shooters in general. So, yeah, I have way more fucking time than you. But I don't just have that. I also watch people stream.
Hmm. Well, that's the
Like right
big
now, I'm
difference.
playing Apex, so I watch people streaming Apex. I look up videos of, oh, how to play certain legends, how to push, how to play different things, how to, like,
I
I
should be
go
doing
so far
Apex.
beyond to it that I shouldn't. I go so deep for no reason. And sometimes I kind of fuck myself. I go too deep into a project and I kind of overwhelm myself with it, and then I just stop doing it altogether.
No, I completely understand. No, I really really do.
Yeah.
So
I've always wondered if like I need to sit Q down and give him the basics of like, I call them basics, but they're definitely not basics. They're advanced tactics of shooters that most people just don't know because you don't think about.
I've
It's that
taken.
extra little level
Hmm.
of positioning, and literally 1 foot of just your positioning difference makes a huge difference between dying or getting 3 kills by being a foot different to the left or right or
Right.
behind a box or on top of a box, like, and you don't really,
One of the
if you're,
things one of the things that I've noticed playing in the last few weeks is my movement has changed. Well, I'm attempting to change movement, I think is a better way of putting it.
yeah,
Just trying to learn, especially with games like this that are incredibly fast paced. that the difference in the game is seconds, half, or even milliseconds in some,
Yeah.
and learning movements and whatnot. And I feel like I'm taking things to heart, and I'm thinking about things, and it's a different, like I said, I don't really play a lot of competitive stuff. Like, I play some competitive games, but I don't play
Yeah.
them in a competitive manner, like
Yeah. Or
Overwatch,
at
or
that level where you're
yeah,
like studying strategies and
or
stuff.
wanting to be at that level. I still
Yeah.
consider I still consider myself a after bedtime gamer.
Yeah.
you know, and that's what I do. Excuse me, that's what I do. So it is a challenge, and I will say that I have been frustrated, lately, because of, it's just like I can't. I have nothing. That there was one game that you and I were playing on, that Foundry map, or I think that's what it's called. One with that's got the molten
The
metal.
lava and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. I can't remember what that's called.
yeah,
I don't know. They have weird names. I
yeah.
don't
I'm gonna
remember
call
them.
it Foundry for the sake of the conversation.
Okay.
And we were playing. We're playing on the side where, on the right is where everything is open. So we're playing from that side. If you go right, it opens
Yeah.
up.
And left is the pillbox and the room and
Exactly,
shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm running up the middle, headed in toward, where the middle room, and then it opens up into the bridge. And I remember opening a door, and this Pathfinder, um, lands, and I've got him dead to rights. I've got an R99 fully kitted out. He's done, and I unleash it on him, and he spins 180 degrees and grapples back out again. And I know he's playing on PC. I know he has a mouse,
Yeah.
because a controller won't allow that type of movement.
Yeah. If you had your sensitivity all the way up, maybe.
Maybe, but even then, I think it would be so hard to to stop the 180, because it was just a perfect. It wasn't 179 degrees. It wasn't 181 degrees. It was a dead nuts 180 degree spin, and he took off again. And I think I even said that to you. It's like, I got nothing for these guys. I can't
Yeah.
compete with that. Like, I mean, there's nothing. There's and it comes back to that age old. It really does now feel age old battle between what's better, consoles or PC, or console, a
Yeah.
controller versus mouse and keyboard, which I think that's really where the argument now goes, because I can use a controller on a computer, I can use a mouse and keyboard on the Xbox. So it's really boiled down to mouse and keyboard, or controller. And there's times where you're getting shot by something, and they're not getting any recoil. So you immediately know, okay, they're using mouse and keyboard. I can't compete with that. Oh, well, you have aim assist. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
aim assist.
Aim,
Aim assist is. I've only.
that's the argument I always hear, and I always go, well, then why aren't you playing on a controller if it's so good?
Yeah, if it's so much better, because you went out and dropped $100+ on a mouse, $100+ on a keyboard, or you could go and spend $200 on a controller. Okay, you're exactly right. Why are you not playing on a controller if aim assist is such a deal breaker? And it's just not. Like, I can't
No.
compete
Well, and they complain so much that it gets turned down all the time.
yeah. Well, and
Yep.
then when we like, you jumped over on your PC, and we got put into nothing but PC lobbies.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they're a different whole animal.
yeah, it was
That
like,
might be part of why like I play differently too, because I think on Xbox I'm level like 270. On PC I'm level like
it's
208.
a good point,
So
dude.
that's how much time I have in. I've played a lot with PC players,
Yeah, but
and I think that definitely helped like force me to get better because I was getting shit on at first.
yeah, I mean, you just, and like I said, the PC allows you to buy things that make you better. It really hasn't been until recently were console players able to do that.
Yeah.
The Elite controller, or the Razer controllers.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
even then, they're only so good, and aim assist only does so much.
yeah, right.
The
And that's not
argument
even
every
aim
time I
assist.
hear it, I tell them, "Well, hop on a controller and try and snipe." I cannot be as accurate on controller as you can on a mouse and keyboard. Across the fucking map, you can dial in and precisely
Yeah.
follow my head and just make minuscule movements. You can't do that on a controller, not with current technology.
No, I watched a compilation of a TikToker on TikTok doing it was an Apex compilation, and he was literally just nuking people from, I'm gonna say, 50 yards plus with the 301. Now it's a decked out 301, but it's like you can't do that on PC. He zooms in and the dude's just standing there and he just lights them up. And I'm like, there's no recoil. And,
Yeah.
and I've never played a shooter on a PC, never one time. I've never used a mouse and keyboard. So I would be interested to see what that's like. But then it's just, you can't compete with that. And I
No.
get so frustrated by watching these videos going, how did that motherfucker do that? And it's like, oh yeah, he's got a mouse and keyboard because I can't emulate that. You know,
Well, you also have the downside if you have somebody that can afford to get a really good gaming PC, you got to assume they also have the time to put in and play a lot.
that's true.
I would say across the board, let's say average, not across the board. I'd say very high average PC players put in way more time than Xbox or PlayStation or any console players for how
Oh,
many hours they play per day, per week.
because the consoles were always designed for, couch entertainment.
Yeah,
You,
casual convenience of
casual
gaming.
gameplay. That's what consoles are for. They're not for competitive gameplay. They never have. We've tried to make them competitive, and we have through, LAN parties and various means and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's there's such a huge dynamic between the two. I mean, people talk about PlayStation players versus Xbox players are different. Um, that's the only thing that Xbox and PlayStation players can agree on is how much they don't like console or PC players.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's what sucks. And
I don't know, Rabble. That sounds like a you
yeah,
problem.
that sounds like a you problem. um, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I take that back. I did play shooters like way back then in high school, but I mean, I don't count them in today's world.
Yeah. And I
Go
have
like Doom
both,
and stuff like that.
and like I put a lot of time into Apex and stuff, but I have because I only have like we'll get on for like 2 hours or something, unless we stay up till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I can't
Then
do
I can
that.
get more time.
I can't do that during the week. I can do it on the weekends.
Yeah.
But,
But like it comes back to like I'm not playing it for a job. I'm not streaming full time. I'm not playing it 8 hours a day. I have more fun playing it on the Xbox. So even though I have a PC that's capable, all I play on there are fucking super sweats that are 180ing Pathfinders. I can still hang, but it's not as fun. I have to try really fucking
yeah,
hard
I mean, there's a
to
reason why we
barely
call
do
it
anything.
sweaty. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Whereas
too
on
much.
console, if I try really hard, sometimes I can 3v1 a team.
All right. Well, let me tell you this then. If that's the way, if I'm going to use your logic that I have to
Okay.
try really hard and I get really sweaty and it's not as fun. That's every time you and I play this stupid game together. That's me. That's me. When we're gonna finish up here in the next.
Trying super hard.
Yeah, it's like I'm constantly like I'm trying to focus, because I already know that I'm only going to get 25% of the damage that you do. I already know that going in, but that's the exact same. I mean that's the way I play all the time when I play those games because it's like I have to keep up, and it's
Yeah.
hard,
I
dude. It's fucking
I
hard.
I'd still wish that SBM social or skill-based matchmaking would be turned down,
Yeah.
especially when we're not playing ranked arenas. We're,
Now,
we're
see,
playing ranked.
ranked is where it's fine. I have no
I can see
problem.
ranked. Ranked is the games that we've been getting. We should have been getting in ranked.
Right.
It should be completely random. It should be. Remember in like Halo 2 days, you could pick whether you wanted somebody closer to your skill or somebody closer to your connection. it should weigh heavily on connection and then skill. If you're playing social or unranked, like it shouldn't be thrown. It should be random. It should be sometimes we run into a 118 Pathfinder that just blows Q's mind and he just sits there not
I
moving and
was
goes, "What?
done. I was
What
like,
just happened?
yeah, I don't want to
What?"
play this anymore. I was like, this is there is
No, I
no
remember. I
success for
remember
me.
when that happened because I hopped on PC for a minute because I was like, I don't want to buy Catalyst, so we were trying on there,
Yep.
and yeah, we ran into a full sweaty PC
Yep.
three stack, and like, yeah.
No, I don't
But
want to do that.
if we're not in ranked,
But
it
ranked
should be
is where it
random.
should be. Ranked
Yeah,
should absolutely be skill based.
yeah. Then I
You're,
should play my ranked. But
yep.
if it in social unranked, we should sometimes run into them, and then we should sometimes run into a team that just started playing the game.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's thought is, well, that's no fun. Okay, but it's fun to have to try your fucking sweat your balls off
Yeah.
every single
Yeah.
time.
To approach a game that you enjoy playing with someone that you enjoy playing with, and then go, I don't want to do this anymore. Because
Yeah,
it's like this is way harder than it should be. There's a reason why I play on normal and not hard.
yeah. If I
And
wanted that, I'll go for it. If I wanted to play ranked, I'll play ranked.
yeah, yeah. Anything social should be completely random or
Yeah,
connection based.
or just
Connection based would probably be the
way
best.
the weight should be way less. Like the window of skill that it gives you. Maybe don't give me the brand new players. Maybe, but bring it up.
Yeah,
Give me out of like out of 50 levels. Let's go back to like Halo. I'm a 35 or whatever. Give me all the way down to 25. Give me down to 20. Stretch it out. Stop giving me nothing but in between 33 and 37. You don't have to keep it that close.
yeah,
It's not fucking ranked. Stretch it out.
yeah. No, I completely understand. Yeah, I completely agree. It's really for your cream of the week. It's the only thing that I just don't like about it is the fact that we're gonna
A
wrap.
lot of the time it's super sweaty.
Yeah, well, it is
It's
for me.
getting the more we win too, it feels like it's putting us up and
Yeah,
we're facing more, it's getting more and sweatier.
yeah. I guess we should just I've got Izzy's account. We can. I'm sure you've got your kids' account. We could play on those.
The only problem is Apex is free, but not the legends aren't.
Oh, that's
Then all of a
true.
sudden you
Yeah,
can't play any of them.
yeah. You can't. Yeah, you can't play the legends you paid for. That's true. Well, the legends I play, they're base legends, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Now that I know Seer's fucking broken,
but it's only what, like $4 or $5. There you go, like $4.
I don't know, something like that. I think
I-
for a
I'll
legend.
send you. I will. Yeah, I will absolutely smurf. I will smurf. We did that. We did that back in early Apex too. Like
I think so. We
because you were.
like loaded up a Smurf.
Yeah, I was playing on Heather's account.
So we got absolutely fucking rolled like for like
Yeah,
2 hours straight, and we're like,
so annoying. I was like, I just want to know what it's like to win.
yeah, and we were like shitting on these kids. We're like, God damn,
I mean,
get shit on.
get shit on. 1v1 me, your ass. Um, it's only like $4 or $5. I mean, I'll cash app you the $5 to be able to win a few. Like,
That's why
fucking just call me,
It-
Q Stick EA. That's fine.
the funny part is like maybe some. I feel like every casual player feels the same way though.
Yeah,
Maybe they're not saying it, and maybe they're not sensing it. I feel like it's literally made people feel like they suck at video games
yeah.
because
Well,
they get on
look
and
at
all
it
they face are people that are their skill level.
Well, look at it like this. All right. Businesses are only going to listen to the people that are the loudest, and your professionals, your streamers, your
Well,
platinum
most of them are
players.
bitching about
Yeah,
skill-based matchmaking too because they can't get on and shit and get 25 kills
yeah.
against randoms.
Well, streamers absolutely want that, but
Pros don't want it
yeah.
if they're just for competitive.
Right. But the issue of it is they're not going to listen to the casual players because number one, we're just casual players. We're not the ones that are going to put thousands of hours. We're not the ones that's going to stream the game or make content with their stuff or anything like that. So they're not going to listen to us. Number two, if we don't have time to play the video games that we love, we don't have time to go on social media and bitch about it. and
Yeah.
and that's a whole nother thing. Um, but it's um,
I feel
yeah,
like it's the same when we get on Overwatch. It's not just Apex. It's not even just the. It's. I feel like it's every shooter. It makes it really hard to enjoy shooters because we'll get on and then we'll start playing well, whether it be Apex or Overwatch, and then we keep getting better and better players, and it slowly gets less and less fun.
yeah. Well, see, when it comes to Overwatch, I don't play precision based characters anyway. I'll play May or I'll play Orisa, where it's just point and spray. I mean, I don't need aim assist,
Yeah.
but no, I totally completely understand where they're coming from, and I think that's strange that they would do something like that. Is like, well, okay, we're gonna punish console players for playing with PC players by disabling aim assist. I think that's so strange why they
Well,
would
aim
do that.
assist, like it,
Well, I mean,
and I've
it's
said this for a long time. Aim assist is not the problem. The thing
no,
you have a problem with is bullet magnetism. Because on your screen, on a mouse and keyboard, you have to be pixel accurate. If you miss by 5 pixels, you missed. On a controller, if I missed by 15 pixels, it hits because of the bullet magnetism, not because of the aim assist.
yeah,
The aim assist only does so much. I'm still missing, but because of the bullet magnetism, it's saying, we'll
we'll
give it
give it
to
to
you.
you.
You're
Yeah,
on controller. That's what they have. That's what they should be bitching about. But they're tying it together, and they don't realize some games it's all over the place. Aim assist is really high and bullet magnetism is really low, or aim assist is low and bullet magnetism is really high, or both are too high or too low. Like it's there's two
I've
completely different algorithms and scales going on.
and I think it changes from time to time, like while you're playing, because there were some times that I was playing in the last few days with you where I've noticed that I was tracking something and another player ran in front of it. So aim
Yeah,
assist picks up the new,
it just
and you're just
pulls
like,
you.
and this is the first time playing in this game. That's the first time I've ever seen that happen, and I was like, that was totally unexpected. And I knew exactly what it was. Like, oh look, there's that they fabled aim assist. I was like,
Yeah,
I
there's the
can't
aim
shoot for
assist.
shit, so I don't aim assist doesn't do fuck for me. So
No, you still have to aim.
yeah, I still suck.
It,
Like, I mean, it doesn't matter, you know.
yeah,
Um,
the argument will never stop though. Everyone wants an excuse of why you're beating them, and everyone's just mad. I love it too because Snipe Down. You should know Snipe Down, the
mhm.
Halo Pro,
Yep.
who is a pro on Apex now.
Oh, good for him.
As as far as I know, I'm trying to think. Does he? I can't think of one. As far as I know, he's the only pro that plays on controller for Apex. Everyone else is on mouse and keyboard. And for a little while, it was a thing. Some people still, I know it's still a thing, but they just don't discuss it because he's like, it is what it is, bro. I'm playing on controller. I've been playing Halo professionally for, so many years. I know controller. I'm going to play on controller. So he plays controller.
I would love to play Apex on the PC with a controller. Because I mean, you still it
No,
does,
you wouldn't because then we get PC lobbies.
but you don't. But correct me if I'm wrong. You don't have the recoil, correct?
You do. It's different.
Because
That's the other weird part is I played Apex on PC with a mouse and keyboard, and I played it on PC with a controller, and I played it on an Xbox with a controller. The aim assist and bullet magnetism is actually stronger playing on a controller on an Xbox. When you put it on a PC, it's still there, but it's like the whole algorithm is different just because you're on a PC. It's weird.
I'd like
It
to try
plays
it.
differently.
Yeah, I really would like to try it. I don't have the capabilities of running it on the technology that I currently own.
Yeah.
But because I don't have that kind of money. I don't have nor do I. I mean, I don't want to say that I don't have the money. It's more of I don't have the justification for it.
Yeah, you don't play enough to
Yeah, I don't play enough
make
to
it worth it.
justify $2,000-3,000 for a PC.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily those prices are coming back down again. But I just why spend $1,000 when I can buy what $399, $400 for the
Or
literal
yeah,
yeah
here in 2 weeks at Costco, $240 for a Series S.
exactly. I mean it's the same fucking technology. Well, yeah, but I mean, still, I mean, even $600-700, or the other thing is, well, you can do it a whole lot cheaper if you build your own. I don't know how to fucking do that.
Yeah. Well, and
Some
the other
people
problem
do.
that nobody talks about, they always mention how much the computer costs. If you want a good computer, you might as well get a good monitor.
Yeah,
Why would you build a good computer that can play it really well and then play it on a garbage piece of shit monitor that can only do 1080p at 30 frames a second?
yeah.
You're wasting your time. So then now all of a sudden you got to buy a nice monitor.
Well, then you're not going to be playing with a $7 wireless key mouse either. So
Yeah, so then yeah, you got
you're
to get a keyboard and a mouse.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it can get very expensive very fast.
Yeah. So yeah, and it does, and that's what happens. And I mean, I can't say too much. I mean, I have an S, and I've got the Razer Wolverine controller, and I've got. I mean, I know Turtle Beaches used to be like the name brand, but now it's like, oh, they're nothing. But it's still,
No, they're big again.
yeah. Like I mean, these are Turtle Beaches. I just they're good, like middle of the road headsets. I mean, I hear great. There's sounds that I pick up in, especially in Overwatch. There's an audio cue that happens in the menu that's tapping, and it sounds like the dog walking on the hardwood floor. So I turn to see her, and she's not there. So I mean, it's really good. But yeah, I mean, I totally get it. So anyway, anything else you want to discuss, or are we going to call this an episode?
Uh,
Because I got a little bit of time if you want to play some Apex.
yeah, I thought about telling people how good Seer is, but I'd rather just people not understand how
Seer's
to play
trash.
him.
I was playing him and just could not get him to work, so he's trash.
Yeah, I'd rather just people not understand how to play him.
Exactly.
It works better for me. I will say I totally understand now why every pro team has a seer on their team.
Yeah, it's a big help.
Yeah.
We
He,
I could run
he's nothing by himself though. I don't know. He's really hard to 3v1 with.
I could run Bloodhound with you, and just we constantly know where everybody's at. Just take
I think
turns
it's
popping
better
in.
with Revenant though.
Yeah, I think so too. So, all
Just
right.
because then you just take out their abilities, no longer anything. Now it's just gun skill
Yep,
and positioning. Yeah, I think that's all.
that's good.
Thanks for stopping by, Rabble and Filk and Doty and
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in and having conversations with us. That's what makes doing the live streaming so much fun.
putting up with our political episode. We never did the intro song, but that's okay.
No, we didn't,
We'll
did
just
we?
throw it in at
Yeah,
the
just
front or
just put it
something.
at the end.
Just throw it in there somewhere. But yeah, this is the political side of the politically incorrect gaming podcast.
All right, well, y'all have a good evening, and bye, Oreo.
Get by Q.